Oh, yeah. Yes. Man. Oh, man. I'm jacked up. No energy drinks. I don't need it today. What a great day. What a great day. What a great day. And God, so much football to talk about. Okay. Just in case you didn't know or you didn't hear, Deshaun Watson was cleared in criminal charges. This means that he will not face any jail time. The NFL still conducting an investigation. There is some what do you call it? Civil suits, so he may have to pay some money. But this was, if you've been following me for a while, this is what I've been saying. He's not going to face any jail time. He's going to be innocent, and he will play pro ball again. So kudos to Deshaun Watson. And that just happened a few hours ago. So Deshaun Watson is probably going to be on another team very, very soon. Very, very soon. Funk, man, welcome, brother, man. Where does Watson go, and where does he start? Do you think Washington got mad because they acted on Wentz when they heard no legal case? Yes. I think Denver's mad. Because Denver would have offered the same trade and more, and they would don't know. I mean, they're Denver fans are they're going nuts right now. But would they rather have Wilson or Watson? The answer is Watson. That's a no-brainer. Washington, of course, would rather have Watson, but where does he go? I think there's a lot of different teams. I saw a Texans fan say that he thinks Carolina's going to offer 3 number 1s, 3 number 2s, Yater, Gross-Matos, Derek Brown, a 3rd-round pick, and they get Watson in a 5th. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Come on. But Carolina's in play. I think Pittsburgh's in play. Pittsburgh, I think, would be a great spot for Watson. I think the Giants are in play, even though the owner was public. I think it was the owner or general manager was public, but Watson into the New York Giants is definitely in play. That means Tampa Bay's in play. I think the Saints are in play. The problem with Tampa Bay is that I don't know if you can offer enough. You would have to give up I think you're looking at picks, but maybe a player or two, and I don't know Tampa Bay can do that. Saints, they're in salary cap hell. They can get creative, but it would be very, very hard for the Saints. Believe it or not, Washington's actually still in play despite getting Wentz. I don't know how. They would have to give up an arm and a leg, but believe it or not, they're actually still in play. I think the 2 most likely landing spots are Seattle and Pittsburgh, and Watson on Pittsburgh makes them an AFC contender. I personally think that if he goes to Seattle, Seattle's my pick to be a Super Bowl team. I think the NFC is really kind of up for grabs. The Rams are in salary cap hell. They're going to try to bring as many of the players back as they can. They're not going to be able to. Green Bay would be kind of my clear-cut number 1 right now, retaining Rodgers and franchising Devontae Adams. But Watson to Seattle, that changes everything. I think that if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, I would say, hey, look, what can we do? Because I don't think that Roethlisberger played very well last year. You put Watson on the Steelers, that team comes really, 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 really scary. But both Denver and Washington, you're 100% correct, Funk. Washington, I think Denver are like, no. And Seattle would probably quote unquote overpay for Watson. So. But there are still 23 civil cases, so who knows who is going to want to pony up the asking price. But the asking price is going to be nuts. Personally, at this point, so he isn't tied up in court, he should offer them all a smaller payoff than literally go on a presser and say, "I'm doing this for one reason." That's actually not a bad idea. if I'm Watson, I just play hardball and just say nothing. You're getting nothing. And here's what you get. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'd like to see him say, here's what you get. You get jail time. I wouldn't see him to go on the offensive because as men, we're kind of in a vulnerable spot. There's you know what? Let me sidetrack. Let me just no. I'm not going to go there. Sister, oh yeah, man. I don't remember a time where it's ever been this crazy, man. Slasher, what is going on? You know, it's funny. I talked to an Eagles fan earlier today, and man, God, he's through the roof. Your draft is going to get very, very interesting. You know, I got all the draft picks. I use Draft Tech. But anyway, I'm looking at I'm looking at the draft order as of right now. That way, if we can figure out if somebody wants to do like some scenarios, like what do you think Carolina or Pittsburgh or Seattle's going to offer? I got the chart in front of me so we can figure it out. Yeah. What the literal fuck is the Carolina? Yeah, some guy on social media, man. Here's the deal, man, and I'm embarrassed. One of the members of the Chiefs fan base was serious. That's what was embarrassing is he was serious about this. He said the Chiefs should offer this year's number 1, number 3, and next year's 3rd round pick and Frank Clark to Jacksonville so we can draft Aiden Hutchinson number 1. And I'm like, oh God. One of the guys I actually like and used to kind of respect his football knowledge was pressing for Harold Landry. Then now he's pressing for Bobby Wagner. And it's just like, dude, do you even know football? Do you have to remember to ask him price that Texans want for Watson? Some team offered Texans 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and they declined it. This was back in September. I think that 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks is possible. I still think it's a little unlikely. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. A team is going to have to say, yeah, a team's going to have to pay, but I don't know. I'm not sure it's going to be 3 1s and 3 2s. I'm not sure. OJ tried a you get nothing approach and he lost his shirt, but hey, he didn't go to jail. This is a different situation. I don't want to go into detail. This is different. If you want to argue that, I get it, but I'm just going to say that I think this is different. But I know if I'm Watson, I say, hey, look, you're going to jail. I think in God, I don't even know if I don't want to touch that. I don't see any possible way Washington sends a better offer than that. I don't know, man. You would have to have the one thing they do have is they got some really good players. I mean, you got Montez Sweat. You got, actually, to tell you the truth, you got 4 defensive linemen that Lovie Smith would love to have. Either one of those 4 guys, and that's what you got to look at. Somebody like Chase Young, even though he's coming off of an injury, that might be a guy that's worth 2 number 1s alone, all by himself. But Terry McLaurin, you may be able to include him in a trade. That way you don't have to pay him, which I think would be silly. But no, I don't see it. But to say that Washington's 100% out, I don't think so. But I don't think they're in the Watson conversation. But to say that they're 100% out, no, I think that they would possibly. I mean, it would have to be something crazy. Chase Young would probably have to be involved some way. So. Aiden Hutchinson would be really good for you guys. I think you should benefit more from stacking your secondary. Seems like more of a weakness than Chiefs. Okay. The whole principle behind the Chiefs defense is the front 4 getting pressure and then playing man on the back end. But everything about Spag's defense is just that front 4. So we got our best defensive player is Chris Jones, and he's under contract. The question is, that who else do we got? Because Frank Clark's due $28.5 million, and he hasn't played like a guy who's worth almost $30 million. I mean, that's a lot of money. for a guy who really hasn't played up to that level. He's a great player. If we can restructure Clark's contract and get another guy, then we're in good shape. But Aiden Hutchinson would be great, but the Chiefs have too many holes to make a trade. By the way, going from 30 to 1 for a pair of third-round picks is ridiculous. And I can tell you this, the Chiefs may be in a market to move up. They're not trading up to 1. There's a few things in life I can safely guarantee that is one of them. You guys should dump Frank Clark. That contract was looking atrocious. Sorry, he's been playing. That's kind of been that's kind of what the Chiefs want to do, is they kind of want to dump him, but they don't have anybody to replace him. I mean, we really don't have anybody else except Frank Clark and Chris Jones, and we've been kind of just throwing different players. We got lucky with Melvin Gordon last year, but there's not really a way that he's going to sign in Kansas City. It's a cap issue. So if the Chiefs want to cough up 2 1s and 2 for who did Chiefs draft at the end of Versino or Brisker? You got to wait. I only got picks 1 through 5 out. You have to wait. Yeah, Chris Jones is a beast. Other than that, unless Clark turns around, I don't see him getting much pressure. You draft somebody like Hassan Reddick. If you get somebody like Hassan Reddick and draft Hutchinson, you have to wait. You have to wait. You have to wait. I have a surprise pick for the Chiefs at 30, but you got to wait. Jermaine Johnson, yeah. I'm pretty sure Jermaine Johnson's not gonna fall to 30. But yeah, if he does, I think Chiefs would love that. I think Chiefs would love it, man. Oh man, I'm so happy to be here, man. I'm so happy to talk football. With the Deshaun Watson situation, I was planning on talking quite a bit, and I don't see Denver Gator here yet. I was going to talk a lot about the Denver Broncos and what's going on with the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson. But One Pride 40, what's up on that? Yeah, I knew it was going to happen. I think you did too. And this is a great day. It's a great day. And next week's show we'll talk about Watson. I'd take him. I'm sure you. The one thing about Detroit, they got enough draft capital. I'm gonna tell you something. I would love for Deshaun Watson to go to Detroit. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And Detroit actually would be in play. I'm sure that they'd make. I'm sure with all the draft capital they have, they'd make some calls. But I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I don't see Watson going to Detroit. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Actually, I do want to start because One Pride's here. One Pride brought up a great point with my mock draft. And if you haven't tuned in to any of my mock draft videos, what's wrong with you? On a serious note, here's how I have my mock first 5 is I have Evan Neal, the Alabama left tackle, going to Jacksonville at 1. I have Aiden Hutchinson going to Detroit at 2. I have Kayvon Thibodeau going to Houston at 3. I have Kyle Hamilton going to the Jets at 4. And number 5 was really hard. Funk was right on the ball last week. I was actually thinking Trayvon Burks of Funk, so you nailed it. But I switched it up. I now got Sauce Gardner's pick there at 5, and that could that can change. That can change. 1 through 4, I feel very, very good about. And I kind of want to talk about Evan Neal going to Jacksonville at 1 and how Cam Robinson being franchised doesn't matter. If you go back to the 2013 Kansas City Chiefs, I think Doug Peterson was the offensive coordinator. He's either the quarterback coach or the offensive coordinator. They had a left tackle by the name of Brandon Albert, former number 1 pick in the draft. His story is actually really interesting, but I'm not going to rant too much here. Everybody thought he was going to leave in free agency, but Andy Reid talked him into staying. I think they franchised him. I'm not 100% sure. I remember it was a 1-year $8-something million deal, so he got good money for that 1 year. And they drafted Eric Fisher, number 1. They put him on the right side. All right, he played on the right side, and then the next year he took, I think it was $50 million to go to Miami. So he ended up making more money than he would have made the previous year, plus he got $8 million for Kansas City, and then Eric Fisher went from the right side to the left side. Jonathan Ogden would go number one in this draft. Jonathan Ogden was a better tackle prospect than Evan Neal coming out. Jonathan Ogden played guard his first season, and I think with Evan Neal, because he did play guard and he did play right tackle at Alabama, I think moving him either to right tackle or inside year one gives your offensive line some stability and some firepower, because you got a young quarterback. Remember, you also get Travis Etienne. He's coming back. He could be a stud, especially in this offense. In this offense, he can be an absolute stud. I think he's still rehabbing. I'm not 100% sure, but if he comes back 100%, he could be a stud. Put Evan Neal in this offensive line. Put Kim Robinson on the left, Evan Neal either inside or on the right side. This AFC South is wide open. So, it would be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun. So I think that's what's going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Cam Robinson. By the way, that 2013 season, the Chiefs went from 2 wins to 11. I can see Jacksonville, if they make some good moves with Evan Neal, either on the right side or on the inside, maybe winning 11. That the AFC South is open. So I like Reddick, but he'd have to be used right. I think he'd be okay in Kansas City. I'm going to tell you this right now. Kansas City doesn't have the salary cap. And Reddick, if I'm Reddick, I stay right there in Carolina. Reddick is a guy, he's really a 3-4 outside linebacker, but he's best used as a defensive end, the way that Carolina used him, and the way he really took over 2 years ago in Arizona. He was used basically like a defensive end, and then he started to really flourish. He actually played he was a walk-on corner at Temple when Matt Rule was the coach there, and then they moved him. He just kept on growing, but he's like 6'1", 240. Chiefs like length on their defensive line, but I Reddick's not a good fit for Kansas City. So Watson waves and no trades clauses. You know, I didn't even think about it, Slasher, but Philly could be in play. They got 3 number ones. There you go. 3 number ones. Miles Sanders, one of the receivers. Fletcher Cox. There you go. Could Philly call for Watson? Shake up the I seriously. There's a lot of teams that Watson could be in play for. Tampa Bay's not out of the realm of possibility. I don't know how they'd work it. The Saints have a terrible cap situation, but they may be able to figure it out. They'd have to move players, money, draft picks. Cleveland might be in play. Hell, Deshaun Watson on that team would be a lot of fun. Philly, I think personally, I think Seattle or Pittsburgh is really like the top 2. And I think that with Seattle moving Wilson, I think that they would give up more than Denver gave up. And I think they'll get Watson. I think Watson will end up as a Seahawk. That makes a lot of sense. Seattle right now is picking 9, 40, and 41 just without doing any more research. Let's just say, and that's this year. So you could give up a 1 and a 2 this year, and then 1 and a 2 next year. So that would be dude. I'm the next show that we're going to do. We're going to talk about Watson going. And the AFC West has been busy. Oh yeah. If you didn't see it, I didn't really make a lot of news. Even though he's a Raider, he's still one of my favorite players. And I'm 19 minutes into the show, and I had a name freeze. Max Crosby. His story's phenomenal. He just signed a massive deal. He's going to stay with the Raiders for the next 4 years. He signed a massive deal. Khalil Mack got traded to the Chargers. Smart move for, I think, really both teams. And I say smart move for the Bears only because they need draft picks and they need help. And their defense, I think it's going to be pretty good. Regardless, they just need help offensively. So you can get a second round pick, move some money. I think the Bears have something like $101 million in cap space, and they're going to need all of it. That's kind of an interesting team to watch for is Chicago Bears and what they're going to do in free agency. But you got the Chargers, got some firepower on the defense, Max Crosby and the Raiders. And then, of course, Russell Wilson going to Denver. I kind of was planning to originally talking a lot about Russell Wilson. Did I say Rodgers? Russell Wilson going to Denver. I was going to talk a lot about that. But, man, with this news with Watson, it's kind of like a side story now. It's more than welcome. Hey, dude, I'm going to tell you something, One Pride. I would love Deshaun Watson to go to Detroit. I would be doing cartwheels. So, Slasher makes the Eagles serious contenders real quick, and they could even keep one of their ones. They could. Slasher, I'd give them 2 firsts this year, 2023 first, second round pick, Dillard and Rager. And honestly, if you're Houston, that might not be enough, but if you're Houston, that would be a lot of fun. But the problem with 2 number ones is that 3 number ones this year, you really kind of have to have a plan for it. That's why I think that one in 3 years would make a little more sense. That way you got 2 picks each year, 3 number ones, and names maybe like, because remember they also pick at 37 too. So, and by the way, Funk brought this up. What if Houston wants Malik Willis at 3? And I at first when he first posted that, I was thinking, no. That makes a lot of sense because, by the way, if they did want Willis, how they're behaving is exactly like you would behave if you wanted Willis at 3. We're going to talk Thibodeau. Kevion Walker. They interview everybody else, and then really they want Willis at 3. I think they're all on board with Davis Mills, but I mean. But if you were interested in Malik Willis at 3, how you've been behaving is exactly like you behave if you want to take a quarterback at 3. So I don't think it's the case, but if they did, it makes a lot of sense, and you're going to get draft picks anyway. So, use one on the quarterback and then use players, why not? I think that they'd build around Mills, but you never know. Funk says Slasher, they might do it. This I'm going to tell you something. This is not a bad trade. If you're a Houston Texans fan and you're not thinking this is enough, this is enough. All right, because Dillard could be your starting left tackle. All right, Dillard could be your starting left tackle. There's talk about moving Tunsil. Let's say you trade Tunsil, so you even have more draft capital. And you can get creative. You can trade up in this draft too. Rager is a guy who's been really disappointing. Comes back to Texas. Maybe I've seen this happen a few times where players it's just the environment of an East Coast. I remember Marshawn Lynch was not. He had some decent years in Buffalo, but Buffalo wasn't really for him. He goes to Seattle, just different type of player. Maybe Rager coming back to Texas plays like a legitimate number 1 receiver, like I thought he would be. But so you get your receiver, you get your left tackle, you get a second round pick, and you get number 1 next year, and you get two number 1s this year in a draft that you could really build up your defense. It makes a lot more sense than people think. This is actually really good. This by the way, Slasher, this is a win-win for both teams. And that's if you're not sold on Hurts, which I want to believe, as somebody who's not a Philly fan, because I like Jalen Hurts, I want to believe that they want to go with Hurts, but why not, man? I knew Watson was innocent because it was all ironic. All stuff comes out when he wanted to leave the Texans. Was truly disgusted, but I think so too. One Pride, man. Definitely think that. I think Breaking Bad is maybe I think it's the best TV show I've ever seen. It's my favorite TV show of all time. And there's a character on there called Saul Goodman, Better Call Saul. And that's what I thought of when Watson was being charged by this. I was thinking, like, you got some lawyer like Saul Goodman who's trying to, just as a, hey, look, I'm going to go after this $1 million athlete here and try to drag his name through the mud so I can get paid. That's what I thought was going on. And I think I'm right. I really do. I think I'm right. And I hope Watson doesn't give in, but I could see what Frank said. I could see him saying, "Hey, look, let me just here's $20,000. Go away." Slasher says he'd give him Minshew or Hurts if they want one. Seriously, that's what kind of sucks is that if you do make this trade, you kind of got to get rid of Hurts, which is unfortunate because I like the way he's been playing. But I'm not 100% sold that he's one of the top 15 quarterbacks in the NFL. And if you don't have a top 15 quarterback, you're trying to get a top 15 quarterback. And Minshew, I think, can play. Again, I don't think he's a top 15 quarterback. But if I'm a team, I want a backup quarterback, I'd love to have Minshew. I'd love to have Hurts, too, if I was looking for a backup quarterback. So. The Bears are smart for dumping that contract. No way they're going to be able to keep it while trying. Yeah, absolutely. That was kind of the big thing is that Chargers take the contract and the Chargers got their quarterback under a rookie deal because the Bears don't have a number one pick. They need a left tackle. The guy that me and Funk both liked out of Oklahoma State, they're going to try to put him in left tackle. He got hurt. They talked Jason Peters out of retirement. I don't think he's coming back. I don't think he's the answer at left tackle. There was some talk about trying to pay Teron Armstead, but I mean, yeah, it's just a cap thing. And another thing is that now keep in mind, Khalil Mack did play defensive end in a 4-3 scheme with the Raiders, and he played really well, but I think he's better suited to be an outside linebacker. The Bears are going to change systems. They're going to go to Eberflus's 4-3 defense, which I think will involve some changes, but Robert Quinn, I think, even though he had a great year last year, I think is better suited as a 4-3 defensive end. You can do a lot of things. So the Bears are smart. The Bears have to rebuild, and they're a team that free agency, they're going to sign a lot of players. I'd love to see what the Bears are going to do in the draft. Let me see here, 39 and 48. So, I mean, they're going to be a fun team. Mac, no, I don't. Did I say he was washed up? He was injured, but he's still playing at high level. For the Chargers, he's going to be a weapon. I don't know the contract off the top of my head. I think he's going to make like over $20 million this year. But for the Chargers, it's going to be helpful because he's an elite caliber pass rusher, but he also stuffs to run. And the Chargers defense got better as the year went on, but they need multiple playmakers on that defense. So. Texas guys don't like see. You remember we talked about this before. I don't know if it was me and you, but Kevin Kolb, he went to the University of Houston. He was drafted by Andy Reid, and he did not like Philly at all. And I wondered if because coming out of Houston, I thought he could play, and I always wondered if he went to like a different team if he could have had a good pro career. But I think like after Philly, he was just shot. But like a guy like Rager, you send him to like I'll be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure. I just move on from Rager, just try to get like a third or a fourth and just say, hey, look, we got Dallas Goedert, we got Devontae Smith, we got Miles Sanders. We're just going to draft somebody. Because every time I see Jalen Rager, he just looks like he hates life. Like he's always got this like negative. I remember like players be like all excited, like trying to give him high fives. He's like, he doesn't look like he's into playing. And I don't know if it's Philly. He may just be one of those guys that just, is good at football, doesn't love football. I don't know. But if I'm Philly, I would have no problems moving on from him. Slasher, one pride 40. I watched Max since he was playing at Buffalo. He is not washed, just gets doubled too much. Chargers got him for the sole reason take off Bosa. Yeah, I mean, the Chargers made themselves a better team, even though taking on that contract. By the time his contract's up, they're going to have to give Herbert. Seriously, they're going to have to give Herbert an arm and a leg. You know what? It didn't even occur to me. We haven't even talked about, I forgot about it, really. Lamar Jackson signed a big time deal. We haven't even talked about Lamar Jackson yet. I'm not on coke. It's just I start talking and when my start they will compliment each other. Good Chargers interior. That I disagree with. Bosa is I think Bosa's better suited as a 4-3 end, but he played a 5-tech very well, but he's an outside player. The Chargers interior defense is not good. The Bears, on the other hand, have some studs. Akeem Hicks was a monster last year. I forgot his Eddie Goldman. He's a guy. No, that's not true. The Bears have a way better set of defensive tackles than the Chargers. They got Jerry Tilley, who I always thought would be a great player. He started to play better, but he's a guy who's really suited better as a defensive tackle than he is as a 5-tech, which is what they're trying to use him at. The Chargers had a terrible run defense, but they but Khalil Mack helps out quite a bit. But no, that statement's not true. But Bosa and Mack will complement each other very well. They could have got a first out of him. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I really don't think so. I think they probably hit up the Chargers and maybe the Steelers and asked for a number one. Both those teams probably said no. I say Steelers because I think him and Watt would have been a lot of fun, but probably weren't interested. But they probably hit the Chargers up for pick number 17. Chargers like no. He's coming off of an injury and he's very, very expensive. A two and I think it's a 2023 6. I think trade compensation was fair. Injury brings down asking price, especially with age. Yeah, it's injuries, age, massive contract, and there's only a handful of teams that have a superstar quarterback on a rookie deal. Chargers are one of them. Back when the Bears won those 12 games, I told Bears fans this was their shot, and it was definitely going to be downhill. I told them he wasted too much capital and would be able to pay the defense. Here we are. Yeah. I thought that winning 12 games, Nagy won Coach of the Year, and they really should have tried to build their defense up. And instead, all Bears fans thought that they were there. And if you watch my videos, I say the same thing. When you have a team that's used to losing, the Bears had 6 straight years of double-digit losses, then they win 12 games. And when you have a team that just goes up, they immediately go down. The problem is that after that down year, I thought they would bounce back, and they never did. But you're right. You're right. Yeah, Kevin Kolb. Yeah. I couldn't remember the guy's name, but I remember he did not like Philly. He's like, I grew up on a farm. I wear cowboy boots, and Philly sucks. And he didn't say that, but I mean, there's some guys that just Philly's not for everybody, man. I've been to Philly. It's not for everybody. If you grew up on a farm, you probably don't like Philly. Probably wouldn't like New York. It's just how it is. Now Max should eat. I'm about to put money on him and Bosa, both for an defensive player of the year. Don't forget. Actually, hold on. God damn it! I already forgot. I'm gonna look this up. I can't believe I forgot his name here. Hold on. I can't believe I forgot the name already. I'm embarrassed. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm embarrassed. I shouldn't have had to look that up. The guy that might be defensive player of the year. I literally just looked it up. And I forgot already. I am so embarrassed. I literally just Derwin James. That might be the guy's defense player of the year, because if he stays healthy, he's the best player on that defense. Derwin James. But yeah, you could put money down. I'm gonna level with you one pride. I don't think Jordan Davis is going to be available at 17. You may have to trade up to get him. That combine, I think really elevated Jordan Davis. I remember Dontari Poe was projected to be a third or fourth round pick. He was, I think, 346. He ran a 4.86, had the same type of combine Jordan Davis did. And he went from a guy who was from Memphis, a third or fourth round pick. Chiefs chose him 12th overall. And I think that Jordan Davis has much better film than Dontari Poe, and had a similar combine. I'd say maybe better, but Slasher, no. Double that. 121, no. 250 to 300 million. 250 to 300. This is no. There's not even you're not even close. Hicks is a guy I absolutely love. If the Chargers get Davis, that would be it would be, but I don't think he's going to last to 17. And but I was hoping the Vikings would be open to trading Daniel Hunter. I think he had 16 sacks in 2018, 15, 2019, got injured old 2020 season. Daniel Hunter is a guy that he's a former third round pick. I thought he was maybe a better outside linebacker because he was like 6'5", but he was like 250. He put on what I call the NFL 20, and now it's just a dominant 4-3 defensive end. But yeah, he missed all of 2020. And then he missed almost the majority of next year. But this is a elite level of defensive end. And it's kind of curious because Minnesota, there was a lot of talk about Kirk Cousins, but you never know what's going to happen with the Minnesota Vikings. They're a team that could do a lot of different things. Funk says, I also took a lot of shit from Lions fans saying that Russell just ruined the Seahawks' future when he signed that monster contract. Everybody's happy for him. I said the fans of the team should be. Said the fans of the team should be. And okay, anyway. No, I get what you're saying. And I was kind of hoping I'd hear from Denver Gator because I kind of wanted to talk about Russell Wilson going to Denver and as much as they gave up in trade capital, what they're expecting. I mean, a lot of Denver fans think that they're going to go to the Super Bowl now. They got Russell Wilson. It's like, well, let's hold off here a little bit. But yeah, I think he would do real good somewhere like Phil. Dude. Oh, okay. Jordan Davis or Daniel Hunter. Daniel Hunter would do great. Put him opposite Josh Sweat. Oh God. It's okay, man. Daniel Hunter's a beast. Yeah, we're done. Yeah, he's like by the way, he was 250 coming out LSU. I think he's like 270, 275 now. Especially that Mike Williams contract, they're going to be absolutely broke. Well, they're not in bad cap situation. I thought it was smart signing Mike Williams because you got don't tell me I forgot. I forgot. Jesus Christ. I'm bad with Nick Keenan Allen. You got Keenan Allen on the other side. So yeah. Jordan Davis does fit him like a glove, but I think he doesn't last to 17. You gotta trade up. And I don't know if you do that or not. Because you may have to trade up quite a bit, actually. But I'm not going to reveal who. All right, so let's talk about Russell Wilson to Denver. And without having the information, I was going to, before the show started, I was going to put in a notepad all the trade information, kind of go over it in a little more detail. But once I saw the news about Deshaun Watson, I decided I wanted to go in a different direction. But Russell Wilson going to Denver, how's that affect things? Well, look what Denver gave up. They gave up 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, Noah Fant. Shelby Harris is big. A lot of people don't get this. This is a very important part of Denver's defense that was really, really overlooked in this trade. A lot of people just kind of glossed over it because Noah Fant hasn't lived up to expectations. This is a guy who's got superstar potential. So put Noah Fant on the Seahawks with Drew Lock, maybe Russell, maybe Deshaun Watson, and you have a big time threat, especially with those two outside receivers. But Shelby Harris is key because Shelby Harris instantly makes Denver's defense much better. Denver has a very, very bad front line. I have no idea. Are you talking about now? No, Denver was Denver gave up the third fewest points in the league last year. Denver has one of the better defensive lines. Shelby Harris is a damn good player. So you're dead wrong about this, Slasher. Sorry about that, but not even close there. Shelby Harris is a really good player, and he fits what Seattle wants to do like a glove. He instantly makes Seattle's defense better, and Denver no longer has a top 5 defense. You lose your defense coordinator, you're going to get worse there. But you lose a key part of that defense. That was part of the reason why Von Miller left and Denver still had a top 5 defense was Shelby Harris. He was an interior force. So that's a big loss. And now if you're Denver Broncos, now Denver does have a pick in the second round. If they get the Rams pick, it's pick 64. But now they got the tight end position's not that bad. They have lots of skill position talent. They got the quarterback. They got to figure out what to do about Shelby Harris. That was key. And keep in mind, you got a new defensive coach. They're going to kind of run the same style of defense, but they had a major loss here. Slasher is saying, look at their statistics after Shelby Harris, who's Denver have left. Well, Bradley Chubb's been the last 2 Pro Bowls. That guy's a monster. Trust me, as somebody who's a Chiefs fan, Bradley Chubb's a damn good player. They ended up using the 3rd and their 7th round rookies. Both those guys were really good athletes. Ended up replacing Von Miller. Both those guys played well. Shelby Harris was a damn good player. Who else they got on the front 7? Well, you know what? Let's go over it real fast here. You know what? Denver had the 3rd best scoring defense in the NFL, and their front 7 was one of the best front 7 units in football. All right, we will go over it in a little more detail. Apparently, Draymond Jones, that was the guy I was trying to think of. That's a very, very good player. Mike Purcell and Deshaun Williams, both those guys I can deal without. Bradley Chubb's a very good player. Baron Browning was the guy I was trying to think of. And then who was it last year who took over? But he ended up being a damn good player. Jonathan Cooper. Jonathan Cooper ended up being a pretty good player. Josie Jewell, he's an okay player. These are inside linebackers. Malik Reed's not a bad player either. But Denver's defense was very, very good, man. Top 5 defense last year, believe it or not. And they're still good. But Shelby Harris was man, it's a big loss. And I think that Denver fans are still thinking that they have a top 5 defense. And you add Russell Wilson to a loaded team with the top 5 defense equals Super Bowl, but that's not the case. That's not the case. Denver Gator, man, I'm glad you're here, man. I kind of want to hear what your opinion is. We got Slasher saying Denver has a bad defense, and we were getting ready to talk. We were actually talking a lot about Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson going to Denver. As a resident Broncos fan, I want to hear what you think. I'm going to tell you this right now. Shelby Harris was a major loss. Seattle did a fantastic job getting Noah Fant, but I think Seattle's going to end up using a lot of those draft picks and players on Deshaun Watson. So 2 questions for you, Denver Gator. What do you think about the Wilson trade, and would you have rather had Deshaun Watson? Because I think Denver's kicking themselves, because for me it's a no-brainer. I'd rather have Watson than Wilson, but you're the Broncos fan. What do you think? Denver, will the trade be worth for third in the division? I'm going to level with you, Denver Gator. That's kind of what I'm thinking. They did not do enough to compete with Kansas City, and with Mac. To tell you the truth, Denver may finish dead last in this division. I think the Raiders could be poised to really do some good stuff. And Khalil Mack going to the Chargers and re-signing Mike Williams, I think the Chargers are ready to make that next step. You lose a key part of your interior front seven. You got a rookie. Here's the problem I have with Wilson going to Denver. You brought in the Packers' former offensive coordinator, something Aaron Rodgers was very close with. You trade that same stuff for Aaron Rodgers, you AFC's yours. Instead, you got a guy who Russell Wilson's not a guy that you want throwing the ball 50, 60 times. Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl on the backs of a really great defense. He's best suited when he can throw the deep ball, work off play action pass, and you have a solid running game, and he's good on improvisation. What really worked good with Pete Carroll is Pete Carroll was able to put his faith in him. But you got a rookie head coach who was working with Aaron Rodgers. Now he's got don't get me wrong, Russell Wilson's still a great quarterback, but how's this going to work? I'm not sure. I will say this, kudos to Denver Broncos for having some big balls and making a bold move, but I think they're kicking themselves now, because they would have done the same trade to Houston for Watson in a heartbeat. They would have given up more. They would have rather had Watson. So I'm not saying their defense is bad. I'm just saying their front line is terrible. It seems like Denver is going to rely heavily on the success of their secondary. Bradley Chubb is good. Bradley Chubb's really good. One Pride 40, I have Denver going all the way. We will wait and see your bet slip. Denver going for Chandler Jones, maybe Vaughn, J.C. Jackson. I love the Russ all day. F the Raiders. We'll go strong on free agents to fill the spots. Okay. What is Denver going to win the AFC West? I don't think Russell Wilson puts you in the lead of the AFC West. You're definitely not above Kansas City. Now, Kansas City has some holes they got to fill, so Kansas City drops. Are you better than the Chargers? Are you F the Raiders? Okay. All right. The Raiders went to the playoffs last year. Denver didn't. Denver lost 2 key starters. I'm a level with you. When Seattle traded Frank Clark to the Chiefs, Seattle won that trade. They got 2 number ones. They wasted both those picks. Okay, they wasted both those picks. But I was adamant that Frank Clark will help Kansas City win the Super Bowl, but they gave up way too much. They paid him way too much, and now they're paying for it because they've had some issues. Actually, they've done decent in the draft, but losing that pick, they need some help on the defensive line. They're relying on some young linebackers now, but I really felt that Seattle won that trade, but Kansas City won a Super Bowl. Seattle squandered all their picks. See, Seattle easily won this trade. Russell Wilson didn't want to be there, but what are they going to do with the draft picks? Now, if Seattle ends up twisting this around where they trade Russell Wilson, use all this draft capital, and get Deshaun Watson, that's a win. And it's a major loss for Denver, because adding Russell Wilson, if you put Russell Wilson on last year's Denver Broncos team, they probably go to the playoffs. Putting Russell Wilson on a team with a rookie head coach trading away a key part of your interior front seven, a stud tight end, Noah Fant, and you got some other players at tight end, and you got some skill position players available with a rookie head coach who's never been a head coach before. That doesn't equal playoffs. That's a big question mark. So Denver, and now with this news with Deshaun Watson, Denver's got to feel like they're screwed. They're like, no. But I do give the Broncos organization a ton of credit for trading for Russell Wilson, but you're 10-7. That's kind of what I'm saying. Denver's way, they have an aging QB coming off an injury. Damn, it's worked before. Yeah, it has worked before. I mean, Peyton Manning's a little better than Russell Wilson, though. Slasher. Von Miller would come back on a cheap deal, no doubt. Denver Gator. Why? If you're going to come back on a cheap deal, go to LA. You just won a Super Bowl. If you're going to come back on a cheap deal, you'd go to LA. You're not going to take a hometown discount for Denver. No. He's not coming back on. If he's going to take less money, he's going to take less money and stay in LA, where he's got Aaron Donald, where he's got Jalen Ramsey. You know, he's not going to take a cheap deal and go back to Denver. No, absolutely not. Wasn't Elway coming off an injury before he won to? I don't think so. He wanted to retire because him and Dan Reeves didn't really get along all that well. And he thought about retiring, and then they brought Shanahan in, and the Shanahan system, which was a heavy run offense. A lot of people feel like it's a great passing offense. It's not. It's a heavy run offense. Then they got Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis was the motor behind the Broncos Super Bowls, not John Elway. They brought in Terrell Davis, the zone read offense, and his relationship with John Elway really revolutionized his career. But I don't think he was coming off of an injury. I could be wrong, but I just remember him really not getting along with Dan Reeves. Dan Reeves was a very strict. Remember, he played under Tom Landry and very strict, structured offense. And Elway was at his best when he could improvise. Elway would be much better in today's game than he would be back then, and he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. So, but I don't think he was coming off an injury. I could be wrong. I don't think so. I've got rumors the Eagles are interested in moving Fletcher Cox. They're trying to move on to Milton Williams. Maybe he would entice it. Absolutely. Fletcher Cox is a very, very good football player who would be great in Houston. Fletcher Cox in Houston would be awesome. And that's why you could Fletcher Cox, 2 number ones, Lillard. What was I'm trying to remember the trade that you had. You could throw Fletcher Cox in there. So I love this response, Denver Gator, man. I was hoping you wouldn't be mad at me. You've been a regular on my show. I don't want to piss you off, man. You've been a great addition to this show. But Casey will always be top dog until proven otherwise. I think the new coaching staff is a breath of fresh air. High energy, forward thinking, huge step up from the last 3 years. Take 10 cents. This is a great response, man. The AFC West is so much fun, man. The AFC West is so much fun. I think Denver fans, not you personally, but Denver fans are really overreacting to this. I think Shelby Harris was very key to that defense. And I think that Denver Broncos fans don't realize how important that is. Plus losing all those draft picks. Russell Wilson, remember, he played for like 8 years straight with just no injuries, and he got hurt. Usually when you're over 30 and these injuries kind of add up. But the AFC West is a lot of fun, man. it's kind of funny because I'm a Chiefs fan, but I have nothing but respect for Denver Broncos. Their fans are awesome. The organization's first rate. I have more sports hatred for John Elway than any other human being alive ever. But a lot of respect for Elway and the organization. Honestly, if I wasn't a Chiefs fan, I would probably be a Broncos fan. The organization's first rate. Fans are first rate. I drove through Colorado. It's beautiful. I hated driving through Denver. One of these days, I'm going to have to check Denver out. But there's a lot of things about Denver that seem really cool. So one reason only, ring chasing in its hometown. Plus, he's been posting cryptic messages asking for his own. I've seen the messages, but he's not taking a cheap deal. He's not taking a cheap deal. No, if he's going to take less money, he'd stay in LA. So I know TD won that chip. I thought he'd been hurt before he won. I could be wrong too. I don't think he was, but I know he was unhappy. Him and Dan Reeves always butted heads. But when Shanahan come, this is pretty funny. That was pretty funny. But when Shanahan came along, him and Elway just got along great. And yeah, so. Dan, so who are your top 5 QBs in the NFC right now? Stafford and Rodgers are there, but who are the other 3? Oh man, that's a shit. That is a great question, man. That's a great question. Let me break up. All right, let me do this here. Let me just break down all 16 teams here really quick. I hate to say it, but Dak Prescott, that would probably be number 1. I'm not as high on him as a lot of people, but Dak Prescott would probably be one of them. He'd probably be the highest. Well, actually, it'd probably be Matt Ryan, then it'd be Dak Prescott. Those would be yours, Kyler Murray. So there would be. All 5 of these guys are really good quarterbacks. So once. I'll be honest. I would love him to go to Philly. I seriously, if he goes to Detroit, I'm just going to go live as soon as he goes on the air, or I'll call Luke G and see if we can do a show together if he goes to Detroit. But if he goes to Philly, I might just go live. That would be awesome. Watch for how many FC West games are on prime time. Oh God, yes. Seriously, every AFC West divisional game is prime time. And I'm a lot higher on the Raiders than most people are. It's funny, one person put on social media, I think Denver Gator may have seen this. It was the AFC West quarterbacks, both Derek Carr in a clown costume. And seriously, Derek Carr, I think, is a top 10 quarterback. So yeah. Jimmy, what's up, everybody? Wants to see Batman was sold out. So I thought, man, what? I'm a huge Batman fan. So I have Plex, right? So I have Plex, and Batman came on Plex, and I was so excited. It's a guy with his cell phone, and the quality was so crappy, and apparently he was eating popcorn while he's filming. So you just hear this crunch, 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 crunch. I got through the first 30 seconds, and I'm like, I can't do it. I was so excited because I was like, oh, I can watch Batman from my house. But I'm probably, I haven't been to the movie theater in a very, very long time. But I was tempted to go see Batman because I'm really, really excited. Really, really excited to see Batman. I think it's going to be a great movie. Is Murray really good, though? One could argue Cousins. Ooh. Cousins over. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I've been a lot higher on Cousins than a lot of people. I remember when the Washington football team. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just having a hard time with calling them the Commanders. It's hard. But anyway, I remember when Washington played the Chiefs won. And I told people, I said, if Cousins, you could trade Cousins for Alex Smith straight up, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'd even add a number 1. and people thought I was out of my mind. Or I hated Alex Smith, and I loved Alex Smith. I just thought Cousins was better, and he was younger, Yeah, Cousins. I don't know. Kyler Murray. Remember, Kyler Murray at one time was an NFL MVP candidate, and I know like he's wanting like 60, 70 million. The Cardinals are reluctant. There's some talk about, the Cardinals wanting to trade Kyler Murray. I would love to see Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson traded. I mean, that would just be fun for both sides, but I don't think it'll happen. But yeah, absolutely you could. You can put Cousins over Murray. Yeah, you could. No, Jimmy. Yeah, I was upset about that too. I thought the Bengals were going to usher in a new era, but they're not. But the Rams got a lot of work. They got a lot of work, a lot of players that they gotta fix. So the NFC, it's Rodgers and Stafford, then Dax. Probably. That's probably the way I would put it. That's fair. That's fair. Super Saiyan Lions, man. By the way, that thumbnail is completely badass. That is completely badass. You and Funk and your thumbnails are just awesome, man. But yeah, man, dude, yeah. It's I'm glad you're here too, Jimmy, man. I mean, I want to see the movie too. So yeah, Jimmy says, yeah, COVID's basically over now. I used to empty movie theaters for a while now in Chicago. Now everything's packed again, man. Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. God, there's some things I want to say. No, I'm just going to keep it football related. But yeah, basically. Yeah, man. Is it Saiyan? But that's awesome, man. You talk about no, I didn't, man. I did not talk about the Calvin Ridley situation. God, I mean, there's so much going on. So I'd love to hear what everybody thinks about the Calvin Ridley situation. But one thing I'm going to add before, because a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, you hit a girl. It's 6 games. You bet $100 on a football game. You're out for a year." Okay. I'm not sure if this was true, but somebody posted that he went online to bet. It was a $1,500 parlay, and he put on his you choose your screen name. He put Calvin Ridley number 18. Like he put his name and number on as his screen name, and it's like, really? I'm gonna tell you something. There's several players that have done this, right? They have a guy. They do it through a guy that you got your buddy and it's like, hey man, put 2,000 on a game for me, and the guy does it, and then he gives them cash. You don't do it yourself. That's the thing that I'm telling you, it's not just like a few players. There's hundreds of NFL players that bet on professional football, and they have a guy. I remember, Chris Carter got suspended from ESPN for saying this. I think it was when, oh God, who was it? It was a draft pick. It's a name you would recognize. But anyway, he said that a player got busted for weed, right? A player got busted for weed. I remember his first round pick. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on the name. But anyway, and he goes, here's the deal. You have a guy in your group, right? You're hanging out. You got like 3 or 4 guys. One of them's the weed guy, the fall guy. One of the guys is like, he gets busted. He goes to jail and you bail him out. But you have a fall guy. And they got mad. But this is what NFL players do. You have a fall guy. So you bet on football. You don't put in Calvin Ridley, number 18, and bet from your home computer. You don't do that. You have your buddy do it. You call your buddy up. You say, hey, put 2,000 on the game. That's the thing. He's stupid. He's stupid. And they warn you about this. There's a rookie symposium, and they drill it in your brain. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And not only does he do it, which, by the way, hundreds of NFL players do. It's probably hundreds. It's probably plural. You have your buddy make the bet. Anyway. But, yeah. He deserves to get suspended. He deserves 1 year. Alex Karras Paul Hornig. Alex Karras should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but it's a different story. These guys bet on football. They were suspended for a year. They came back. Ridley will come back to the NFL. So, do you think it's possible Atlanta gets a deal done for what? Okay. It's funny. I just named like 8 teams. I didn't name Atlanta, but Atlanta makes a lot of sense. But in order for Atlanta, you have to find a suitor for Matt Ryan. And it'd probably have to be a 3-way trade. Like Matt Ryan goes to Indianapolis. Indianapolis ships back some stuff. And then Atlanta ships some stuff up. So that would be a little more complicated. But yeah, Atlanta's in play. And the reason why I say that is because their coach came from Tennessee, and he started using Tannehill's running ability. Matt Ryan doesn't have any running ability. Matt Ryan's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I actually thought Matt Ryan would make a lot of sense in Denver. I actually was kind of expecting Matt Ryan to go to Denver, and I was scared about that. I'm not scared as Russell Wilson as I would be a Matt Ryan, because you could have got Matt Ryan for a lot cheaper. But yeah, absolutely. But Matt Ryan's not going to Houston. Matt Ryan would maybe go to Indianapolis, maybe. Well, I don't see a way he goes to New Orleans, but it'd be fun, but I don't see that happening. But Matt Ryan would probably go to Indianapolis. So yeah, I'm depressed over. That's a bad situation. That's a bad situation. Like I said, lots of NFL players bet on football. You have your buddy do it. You don't log in from your IP address. That's just beyond stupid. He deserves to get suspended for a year. People that are defending Calvin Ridley should know better. They should know better. All right. Anyway, no, we ain't got to Atlanta or Green Bay spending. Yeah, that is really badass. It's from Dragon Ball Z. Really? I you know what? I've never watched Dragon Ball Z one day in my life, so I have no idea what that is. Here's the thing, Jimmy. You know what it is. It's from your rookie symposium. They go through this in training camp every single year. Is drilled in your head. This has been through the decades. I mean, what's the Ohio State quarterback went to the Colts? Didn't Art Schistler? He got like a lifetime ban. No, dude. Here's the deal. He logged into his home computer. Here's why I'm mad about it. Because the dummy put Calvin Ridley number 18. I don't know if that's really what happened, but I do know this is that they showed a screenshot of the site he used, and it was legitimately from the site. It's not from my bookie, by the way. The NFL busted him because it was from his IP address. That's just beyond stupid. Hundreds of NFL players do this. They have a guy. That's why I don't have a problem with it. And you know better. I mean, in every industry, there's certain things that you do that are maybe a little strict. All right. Certain things, are a little strict that you can't do, but at another place you could do. So sounds like say he could possibly get reinstated at the middle of the season just up to he could. I don't think he will. I think that they're really, because online betting is just exploding. I think that they, you got a team in Vegas, you have online betting at an all-time high. A matter of fact, the Bills been, none of you are in Missouri. The Bills going for Missouri legislation. Sports betting may be coming to the Kansas City area as soon as next month, according to somebody who I was just talking to, Eagles fan actually. So maybe I should watch Dragon Ball Z, man. I think it's funny he got suspended for a year, and there's a guy playing right now that's done worse and got only okay. You're the very before you go to an NFL training camp, you go to a rookie symposium. They drill this into your head. You know that you can't do this. You know for a fact you can't do this. I'm telling you this right now. I'm not joking when I say hundreds. Hundreds of NFL players probably bet on football, baseball, basketball, whatever. All right? Hundreds. They have a guy. They have their buddy. Almost every NFL player has at least one friend who's not in the NFL. That's the guy who makes your bets. All right? Let's just say I'm an NFL player. I'm calling up Denver Gator. Yeah, give me 2,000 on Denver. So I get what you're saying but here's the thing. You're drilled into this. You know this. You know this. All right, so anyway. Here's the thing, everybody crying about him getting a year, but he signed a contract that says it, sorry, not sorry. Smart. Now when people say Ray Rice, blah, 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 there's nothing in the contract, and you're right. You know what? I'm going to say something very unpopular. All right. What you do off the field should be what you do off the field. It should be. I heard stories about the 85 Bears. Every single player on that 85 Bears defense would, in today's day, in today's age, because of social media and everything, would receive some sort of suspension. All right. I mean, Buddy Ryan probably would be, but you know better. He bet on his own team. He did it from his own IP address. That's the thing. That's the thing that really bothered. If he was smart about it, it's a non-issue. It's a non-issue. He should have had his buddy do it. He knew better. He was warned from day one. And with Ray Rice, no, it's not in the contract. It really wasn't. But I get it. Yeah, there's lots of talk about Ridley leaving, and the Falcons supposedly knew about it. So it is, and it isn't. You know for a fact before you join the NFL, if you bet, here's the deal: before you join an NFL team, before you're drafted, you know that this is wrong. You're made aware. You know that this is the punishment. And if you do it, you know you're going to be suspended for a year. Have your buddy do it. He could have called me. I would have placed a bet for him. The league is more concerned in protecting his shield than weed smoking PEDs when it comes to betting. Pete Rose, Karras. Rule number 1, no betting if in the exactly. And like I said, Alex Karras, Paul Hornig lost a year of playing for. He did get in. He did. Okay. So, yeah. This specifically says don't punch a girl, whip your child. Adrian Peterson gets suspended for child becoming in the. God, the Adrian Peterson thing was, I mean, I'm not going to touch base on that, but just be clear. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know that you know he's stupid, and I get what you're saying. Bottom line, he should have called me. I would place a bet for him. Alex Karras did get in. Okay, yeah. He should have been in a long time ago. I should know that. Yeah, I got you. However, I do believe the punishment is fair on Ridley, but I also believe the punishment should be more severe for domestic cases above all punishments. Well, who's the player who I bet it's a bad show as far as name remembering, but there was a player who was accused of a domestic battery, and it was just a girl just saying that, there's a lot of girls that say rape or say, this guy hit me and it's just fake. And what I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but he was just found innocent. And that's the problem, is that if you make the penalties more severe in domestic cases, you have a lot of women out there that are just saying, oh, this guy hit me, and it didn't really happen. It's happened. This NFL player, of all the things that went on in the NFL, it's the bottom of the list, but there was a player who just was found innocent of a domestic battery. I'm drawing a complete blank. I think it's Tampa Bay corner, Carlton. I think that's it. That's how I feel too, Denver. I'm not advocating against women violence. I'm not saying that, but we live in a day and age where if a woman says something, they can lock a guy up even without evidence. So that's kind of like the pros and cons of it. But if Deshaun Watson, for example, if he was found guilty, I'd say, okay, his career's over. But I didn't think it would be. So I never watched it, man. I think it's awesome, but I know nothing about it. So, but this is really badass. I also love Funk's like that would be awesome. I don't like how teams are like doing the all black thing, but I have to admit the Lions switch to that. That would be really badass. Denver, that's fair. They put stuff like don't ride a motorcycle, don't bet, don't go hang gliding, don't go rollerblading, but they have don't be a fidget boy. Oh God, that's pretty funny. God, man, Jimmy Z is probably the most popular. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So what do you want the Lions drafting at 2? Okay, awesome. Let's talk some draft. I've been thinking Aiden Hutchinson to Detroit at 2 for a long time, and I think it just makes sense. This is a guy who comes in day one, improves your front seven. He makes your front seven immediately more athletic, stronger against the run. You immediately have a better pass rush. This is the definition of what Dan Campbell says he wants out of a player. This is the definition of a kneecap biter. This is a high intensity, high effort, high motor, ultra productive player. From a school that went to the college football playoffs. Really, let's be honest. Alabama and Georgia were 1 and 2. They were 1 and 2. Everybody else, you could have put anybody else against those schools. That was 1 and 2. Okay. Hutchinson finished second Heisman balloting as a pure defensive end. That's hard. He didn't test as an elite athlete, but his combine was very similar to either one of the Bosa brothers. To me, this is a complete no-brainer if you're the Detroit Lions. If Hutchinson's available at 2, you take him at 2. Now, the Lions last year did something that's very hard to do, and all their draft picks made the team and contributed. That's very hard to drop. It's very hard to have a draft where you hit on everybody. Normally, if you hit on half the players in a draft, that's exceptional. That usually get an A. The Lions hit on 100%. So if they can hit on 75% of their picks, which is still unusually good, but Dorsey's been very good at finding players in mid to late rounds. His very first draft in Kansas City, Travis Kelce in the 3rd round. A few years later, Tyreek Hill in the 5th round. He's found some really good players in the middle rounds. So Detroit's perfect situation is to trade down from 2. And I've seen more and more mocks where Carolina and the Giants trade up from 6 and 5 respectively to 2. If I'm the Detroit Lions, that's the perfect situation to trade down. Trade down, but if you're stuck at 2, I think Hutchinson's a no-brainer. A lot of guys in this group, like Hamilton, and Hamilton would be a lot of fun, but he's not nearly as safe. And you always want to take a edge rusher over a safety, all things being equal. I personally think Hutchinson is a better prospect than Hamilton because he's safe. Hamilton, I love the size. The combine was great. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, he ran a 4.6." No. No. That's not what I'm looking at. I mean, if he ran like a 4.8, that would be a problem. 4.6, that was fine. Watch his drills. The guy turns, moves. He'll be able to cover tight ends. He'll be able to cover bigger receivers. You could use him very creatively. That would be a lot of fun, but it's a risk. And he doesn't help your pass rush. All right. And don't give me that blitzing stuff. No, he doesn't help your pass rush. Hutchinson's safe. Hutchinson immediately makes your whole defense better. Hamilton doesn't do that. Hamilton, yeah, he's a day one starter, helps your secondary, but you still need to add so many pieces up front. But anyway, the Lions, though, I think perfect situation would be a trade down. I heard a lot of the AP allegations were false, but that's all I'll say. Listen, I'm 40. I'm gonna tell you something. My mom used to be able to smack me in the face in a grocery store. I remember she did that once, and I deserved it too. I was a little shit, and people would look, but they were like, what a brat, and like me, today it's child abuse. Back then it was good parenting. So anyway. Okay, for sure it's more popular. I think it's one of the most. I've never seen it. There was pics and he admitted it. Yeah, but it used to. Hey, listen, 30, 40 years ago it's considered good parenting. It's child abuse now. I never say he was innocent. I said a lot of allegations said to be false. Other allegations can be true, of course. Oh, for sure, Dan, innocent until proven guilty. I actually thought it was weird Watson wasn't allowed to play because of allegations without. Yeah, I really felt that he was innocent all along, and I don't know if he was sitting out because he didn't want to play for the Texans or if the NFL. I don't know all those details off the top of my head, but I'm just glad that I want to see, even if he plays against the Chiefs. I think football's better with Deshaun Watson in here. And I also think it's good that if you say he did something and he didn't do it, for him to get his day in court and win. I think that's awesome. Do I think he's elite? I think so, yeah. I think Aiden Hutchinson's elite. Yes, I really do. I don't know if he'll be elite on the Detroit Lions, but the thing is that the floor on him is so high. At worst, you're getting a 10-year NFL starter. That's why I love him, is that I don't think there's anybody else in this draft that you can say, hey, this is going to be a good player for 10 years. This is the guy with the highest floor. And could he be elite? Yeah, he could be. Do I think he's elite? Yes. And people want to nitpick this, nitpick that. The one thing that stands out about Hutchinson is that he shows up against the run and the pass, and he's always going 100 miles an hour. Seriously, he could be a guy that you draft. And okay, here's what I think would happen. Worst case scenario, he goes to Detroit at 2. And at the end of his rookie season, he's seen as a bust because he has like 6.5, 7 sacks. But what you don't see is that he's solid against the run and he allows other players to make plays. Somebody like Ozarike who could make that next jump up, or was it McNeil? The guy from NC State, your 3rd round pick, who's really played pretty well last year. Those guys may end up having big seasons because Hutchinson takes a lot of pressure off. So yeah, I do think he's elite. Is he like the same type of athlete as a lot of his other guys in the combine? Maybe not, but dude, watch some tape, man. And by the way, if you want to say, well, the Ohio State tackle shuffled his feet or crossed his legs or whatever, yeah, but I mean, he had 3 sacks in that game, but he had 16 in 11 other games against some pretty good players. So, I just think that Lions fans, you really want to trade down. just because of the success you had in last year's draft and you have a lot of holds. But Hutchinson at 2 would be really I really think that Hutchinson at 2, they give him the 97 jersey, and I think you sell out. And I think you get a guy who will end up with like 10, 11 sacks and might end up being a Pro Bowl. Year one. I really do. I think you're going to draft Hutchinson. I think you're really going to like him. I actually don't hate Hutch. I actually ever said I don't want Thibodeau. I don't think Thibodeau would really. It was funny. I was just listening to a Round 6 podcast where I went on the air, and Thibodeau said he would love to play in a 3-4. I don't see him as a good fit for Detroit. Just personal opinion. Hutch is a great player, not elite. I don't want Tibbs either. He's not a leader. I'm hearing it was funny because One Call 40. Like throughout all the regular season, he kept on saying, I want Thibodeau. And then towards the end of the season, it's like, no, I don't really want Thibodeau. The Lions have a great pick. Unfortunately, on the only Ferrari. Funk loves Hamilton. I will say this. If Hamilton's available at 4, that the Jets are definitely going to take him. So, yeah. That's why I want the safety. You can always go for the best player in a big need. And that's kind of the difference between me and a lot of other people. I don't think Hamilton's best player in the draft. I think he's best safety, but I don't think he's the best player. But if you do, I'm going to tell you something. If Detroit drafts Hamilton at 2, I'm going to be like, holy shit. And I'm going to pull for it, and I want it to work. But I'm wondering, what are you going to do at 32? Because you took a big risk at 2. So what do you do at 32? Do you trade down? What do you do? But, yeah. I can't unsee the Utah and Washington's names. Tibbs with meh, with effort. I call Cap. I'm a little behind with Cap on. Oh, Cap on Hutchinson being late. No, I got him going number 2, man. I think it's a home run if that's what you're referring to. My nose is starting to run a little bit. I promise it's not cocaine. Savion, the only reason I'm on the Hamilton at 2 train, seriously, no one else that screams all pro. If you think that he's going to be an all pro, I get it. I don't see that. I really don't see that. There's some wide receivers. Treylon Burks to me is a guy that screams all pro. I think Treylon Burks. I would love for Detroit. Let's say Detroit goes from 2 to 6. Let's say 6, and then they took Burks at 6. Like that's a guy I think would be a stud for Detroit Lions. If I would love for that to happen. That's actually a bigger need. But I think Burks might end up being a better pro. I love Burks. I have a major crush on him. I understand everything you're saying, but why draft a guy? But that's why you draft a guy like Mafe at 32. I'll be honest. I don't think Mafe is going to be available at 32. He might be. But, yeah, if you draft Hamilton and then you get Mafe at 32, you're in really good shape. That would not be bad at all. That would be very, very, very good. I don't think Mafe is going to be available at 32. I say that, but, I mean, he could be. He could be. You know, seriously, Mafe, if you get him at 32, you may be able to get him at 34. So, if I was drafting for the Lions, my picks would be Hamilton at 2, Mafe at 32, and Muma at 34. We just plugged 3 holes on our team. Muma. I'm drawing a blank on Muma off the top of my head. But Mafe and Hamilton would be good. I'm drawing a blank on Muma. So, if the Lions are able to trade down, who do you think the Lions would or should target? Trayvon Burks, and that would be at 6. And I know taking Burks at 6 might be a reach, but that's the number one hole in your team is offensive playmaker, and you got one. You'd have to get creative in how you use them. I think you would have to use this. I think Burks, if he gets with the right team, can be like 100 catches, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, and then maybe another couple hundred yards rushing the ball. You got to get creative. But if you trade down at 6 from like Carolina goes from 6 to 2, you take Burks at 6. I'm in at 32. You go defense at 32 and defense at 34. Yeah. But the mock trades I've seen is that you get Hutchinson at 6, and I think that would be perfect. The mock draft I saw was that Carolina trades up from 6 to 2, and then you get Hutchinson at 6, and that works out perfect. I really like Mafe. Give me Asamo or Muma. Who the I'm drawing a complete blank on this Muma guy. I should know who this is, but I am drawing a complete blank. The Wyoming kid? Okay. It might be a little high for 34. Pickens at 34 would be good. I like Pickens at 34. I asked that because Bucky Brooks asked Hutchinson if is Bosa brothers or Watt brothers level, and he says that no, he does not. That special trait that the Bosa and Watt brothers have. As far as athleticism, they're actually pretty similar. Pretty similar athletes. Remember Nick Bosa, he ran a 4.83 at the combine, and I think he was about the same weight. Vertical is about the same. So, Jimmy, how far are they able to drop? Give me a spot. All right. Don't forget about the Hutch genes, like the Bosa boys. Watts come from Strud bloodline. I think his dad is a Hall of Famer. I don't know if Hutchinson is a Hall of Famer or not, but I mean, being that his dad was an NFL player, then yeah. Yeah, and that's something that I always like. I always like NFL players that have they have the streaks. Take Lockett, Tyler Lockett. His dad was an NFL player. wasn't a great player. Was in Kansas City for a little bit. Very similar build to his dad, but he's a superstar. So yeah. Seattle, Seattle's picking 9. So I'm actually agnostic on Hamilton versus Hutch. I think whoever Detroit gets in free agency, though, will make it a dead giveaway who they're going for. Absolutely. We'll have to take a look at what they're going to do in free agency. And, yeah, absolutely, Hutchinson could go 1. Hutchinson could go number 1. That's not out of the realm of possibility. One Pride 40, he revealed – I don't have it memorized, One Pride. But on his YouTube comments, he put 1 through 10. It was a great mock. The only one that we're alike so far on was Thibodeau going to the Houston Texans. But I really liked your mock 10, at least your top 10. And he's got Hutchinson at 1. Hutchinson could go to Jacksonville at 1. I think that they're going to go offensive tackle, but Hutchinson is in play. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to get all those names wrong, and even a few others should be there. Even Benito at 34 wouldn't bother me. 34 is, as I consider 33 through 39 the gold picks, because you can get a first round talent, and then you pay them significantly less than you would a first round player. And then 32, a spoiler alert, I think there's almost no way Detroit picks at 32. I think that they're going to do everything they can to get out of that pick. And I think that with these quarterbacks, I think that seriously watch between 27 and 32, you could see anywhere between 3 to 5 quarterbacks go in those picks. Because I think that there's several quarterbacks that you may want to say, yeah, I know he's not a first round talent, but we're going to take him in the first round. Somebody like Desmond Ridder or the kid out of Nevada, drawing a blank on his name. Somebody like that, you may be interested on. And you could get a team like Indianapolis, for example, if they are not able to get their quarterback via free agency, and Detroit's there at 32, you may want to go ahead and trade a second, maybe like a third, or I don't know. You can do a variety of different things, but I don't think Detroit's going to pick at 32. So, Burks is going to be way gone before 32. Mafe at 34. I think both these guys are long gone, but Muma's a linebacker from Minnesota. I think it's a guy from Wyoming, and I'm not that high on him, but I do like him. I know Logan Wilson, if he's anything like Logan. I thought for a while Logan Wilson may have been Super Bowl MVP. He was playing lights out. He's a player I really, really liked. But Muma, I don't see him going in the first round. Great fit for Detroit, though. At 9, Trayvon Walker, Devin Lloyd would also come with at least a 2 this year. So So I'd actually like to see a legit trade. If you've been watching my videos, I have a major crush on Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd going to Detroit like at 9 would be awesome. That would be a great pick for Detroit. I love this guy. I think Devin Lloyd could be an all-pro day one. I think that this guy is just phenomenal. So, my bad. I've been smoking. Right with you, buddy. Jesus. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I love it, man. You guys are the best, man. So I do know how much money they carry over for next year if they don't sign any free agents. Detroit, I have no idea. That's a great question. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions took Ritter at 32. I actually think that a quarterback could definitely be in play at 32. Daniel Jeremiah, when he had his first mock draft, he had Willis at 32, and you guys didn't like that. I thought that was brilliant. But the Lions at 32 make a lot of sense. I'm not saying this is the pick, but Ritter 27 to Tampa Bay might make a lot of sense also. But somebody like Ritter is available, Howell or somebody could be available at pick 32. I see that there's a strong possibility Detroit trades out of that pick. I don't think they trade up, but I think that 32, that pick is going to be on auction block. It wouldn't surprise me if they trade down because you got pick 34. So you could get some more draft picks, especially if you're stockpiling for next year. Remember, you got 2 picks in the 2023 draft where I really think that Detroit will really target a quarterback very early in that draft. Not this year, but next year. So I think they're sitting at $25 million right now. That's not bad. And I would like to take the Eagles picks 15 and 16. I do think Philly's interested in trading up. I don't think they're going to go from 15 and 16 to 2. But I do think Philly may be interested in trading up, but I don't think that they're going to go all the way up to 2. I would be shocked if they did that. I don't think the Lions are taking a QB in this draft. I think it'd be interesting. I personally think that what they should do is build a team and then use the 2 number 1 picks in next year's draft to trade up for a quarterback because there's going to be some good ones coming out in next year's draft. I think that's kind of the move that Detroit's going to do is build a team this year, see what you got in golf, and then draft a quarterback in 2023. And unless golf just plays lights out this year, then you use those 2 picks to build around golf. So, and if they do it, Philly is going to trade up, but they're not trading into the top 4. No. For 2022, yes. But I have no idea. But I think that at 2, you take a safe player, and then 32, I think you move on. But let's say you do pick at 32. It wouldn't surprise me if they take a quarterback, especially if there's somebody they really like in the draft. I've been really high on Desmond Ridder. I'm not sure if Desmond Ridder is going to be available at 32, but if he was, I would think it'd be a great move for Detroit to take the chance on a guy like Desmond Ridder at 32. Jimmy, if I'm the Eagles, I probably don't want to move. They are literally sitting in a sweet spot. I like the fact they have 2 picks back to back, but because of that, they may want to go ahead and package one of these picks, but you'd have to target somebody. You'd have to have a player that you're like, hey, we really want this guy. There's a chance, for example, let's say Watson is gone to Seattle. So Houston's picking at 9. Philly may really be high on like Devin Lloyd, for example, and they may want to go ahead and put a package deal together. They'd move up like the 9 or maybe even 10 for the Jets. So I think they have the perfect spots in the draft. Philly's an interesting team. 15, 16, 19. I mean, what do you do? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I actually kind of expecting Philly to make some moves, but I'm just not sure what. So, and another thing is that they have to think about is with Philly is that are they just going to move on from Lillard completely and just like, hey, we need to draft a left tackle? Because if so, then there's a chance they may want to jump all the way up to 2 if their goal is to get a franchise left tackle. So they could go really high. I don't see them getting up to 2, but they could trade up pretty high if they want a left tackle. I'm not saying I think they will. I'm just saying I can see it. They need a legit backup, although I'd probably take Bradley Zapp on day 3 if he makes it that far. I know you're really high on Zapp. I have not watched any Bradley Zapp yet, and I probably should. I've been so focused on round 1, and I know he's not going round 1. But, yeah, man. I mean, Detroit picks at 66, Zapp at 66. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But, yeah, they tell you the truth, if they draft a quarterback at 32, he'll get a chance to start as a rookie. If the Lions draft a quarterback at 32, he could start. Yeah, I agree about the backup. If I'm drafting for the Lions, my first 4 picks would be an edge guy, a safety, an off-ball linebacker, and a wide receiver. Of course, this is pre-free agency. So let's say you go with the player that I like, Hutchinson at 2. I think it's Dax Hill, the safety out of Michigan. Let's say you put him at safety. Off-ball linebacker. I think you might be able to get Muma at 66, but there's a couple different linebackers. Let me throw this at you. Let me throw this at you. See how you like this. All right. Hutchinson and Hill get a pair of Michigan guys. All right. 34. I'm sorry. 34. You get Nakobe Dean. You get Nakobe Dean. I know some of you guys are really high on Nakobe Dean. Let's just say there's a way he sneaks in out of the first round, or let's say you take him at 32, Dax Hill at 34. You flip flop those two. All right. 66 you use on a wide receiver. Somebody probably has a second round grade, slips through the cracks. So not 66. I need a starter. Okay. Well, what I just gave you, you could put fill in the blank at 66, but Nakobe Dean, let's say he falls down through the draft. I think that's a serious possibility. Let's say you get him at 32, Dax Hill at 34, Aiden Hutchinson at 2. You get three starters, and then fill in the blank at wide receiver at 66. That would be 4 starters. But one of these 4 positions will be filled in free agency. So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I've been sniffling a lot more. I didn't think I have a cold, and I actually have a humidifier behind me, but it is. I turned it down before the show started, and the heater's now on, and I'm just like, yeah, man. Kind of bounced all over the place, but I was not expecting a Sean Watson situation to be coming forward. Next week, I'll have picks 6 through 10 in the books. We'll probably have a landing spot for Deshaun Watson by then. By the way, listen, guys, if you email me, I will get this email. I'll get the notification on my phone. I can respond to you directly. If you have anything you want to discuss, we just shoot me an email and I'll answer it. All my social media links are listed below. Follow me, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you're, I know Funk doesn't do social media. That's fine. Funk can always email me, but follow me on social media. I know Alex, me and him go back and forth with Twitter. I repost a lot of stuff on football. Instagram, I just been kind of putting my videos on Instagram, and then My Facebook's like 95% football. Occasionally I put some personal stuff on there. You know, my mom follows me on Facebook. So like, if you do follow me on Facebook, keep it semi-clean. My mom's got a great sense of humor, but she is my mom. So Hutch at 2, Cine. Oh, I forgot about Cine. Yeah, Cine or Brisker at 32 if Dean is there. Yes, but Pickens at 34. If not, Asamoah, linebacker, or Pierce, wide receiver. Pierce has been, I did not expect that combine a lot faster, but Pierce at 66 makes a lot of sense. So, listen, I'm going to end the show on that. Funk, great job. Guys, listen, I'm going to release my Carolina Panthers video Monday at noon Central, so 1 Eastern Standard Time. Let me know what you think. Obviously, leave a comment below. Again, follow me on all social media platforms. But if you're like Funk and you don't like social media, you email me. I'll get the notification on my phone, and I'll respond back to you. So listen, man. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining the Dan Show, and I look forward to seeing everybody back next Friday. We'll have a lot to talk about, and I'll have draft picks 6 through 10 released starting Monday. So anyway, I'll see you guys back next week. Thank you so much for joining. See you guys next Friday.